Hey guys, I sat down with my Uncle Jim to talk about real estate investing and how we make loans to real estate investors. We've been in business a long time, since 1934. We've originated and serviced over 15,000 loans. So I know we can help clarify any of the questions you have. So sit back, relax, and please enjoy our conversation. Thank you.
Yes, I am a loan officer for a kind of a niche type of lender. It's called hard money lending, and that is a kind of loan that is predicated on the worth of the property as is, not so much on credit score, not so much on track record with some kind of a business thing. It is putting the emphasis of the underwriting on the property itself as is right now. And this is very helpful for people just starting out that maybe have just gotten a property or they want to find a property. They will come to us so that they can get that first loan, because some banks don't want to take a chance. Imagine that, a bank that doesn't want to take a chance on someone that's new and untried, or has maybe a few dings on their credit, or they have certain issues like a property that is distressed. In other words, it's beat up looking, it's got a messed up roof, the siding's not good. And we get those people started so that they can build a stable of rental properties which bring in passive income.
So, in a nutshell, you give loans to people, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what is the difference between what you do
Mhm.
and what we do versus what a traditional bank does? Can you explain?
Yeah, the similarities are we are the ones that loan the money. In other words, no, we're not a broker that's working for somebody else. And then once somebody says yes, we go out and try to find the money, the funding for it. We are the bank in effect. And what we do is we use investor funds to make these loans. And some of these are folks that we've dealt with for 20, 30 years, folks who are seasoned investors. They've seen the trends come and go. They know that the business is cyclical, but they also want to take a chance on new people that are going out there trying to create something. We are I guess we're similar, but we're different in that we don't underwrite the same way a bank does. A bank, when they go out, they look at properties and they say, well, the property's fine, but how's this guy's credit? What's his credit score? Big thing with the banks. It has to be, and this is a sliding scale sometimes 700, sometimes higher, sometimes a little bit lower, depending on how bad they need the loans. With our company, we put the emphasis very simply. It's a very simple business model. We put the emphasis on the worth of the property as is right now, not ARV, not all fixed up, because sometimes people run into snags. What it is right now, and we don't loan 100%. We loan 60 to 70% loan to value on the property. What that does is that makes a loan for our investors. As I said, we use private funds, so they're not making loans on things that could go up and down. So they're not over lending. And at the same time, the borrower is not over leveraged. So there are some advantages, and there's a lot of ease of operation with our company too.
Is it true that banks sometimes don't want to take risk on someone who's new? And can you talk a little bit about that, please? And what type of people are you willing to take a chance on that differentiates you?
Correct. Sometimes banks don't want to take a chance on someone that's new. They don't want to take a chance on someone that doesn't have X amount of dollars in the bank account right now. And they also don't want to take a chance on somebody that's got a property that has no curb appeal whatsoever, perhaps. Might have a good structure, but it needs work. We will take chances on those folks. There's one guy in particular that told me that he kept trying. He just wanted to get started. And one banker even said, you know, you make me uncomfortable. Please never come back here. But they came, the same guy came to our company when my dad was working there, and he said, well, what do you have? And the guy told him about the property. Dad looked at the property and he said, we can make that loan. There's enough equity there. We can do it. Let's go forward. That guy now not only has a large stable of rental properties, he also has a management company. And he says very kindly that we were the first place that ever gave him a chance and got him started.
Thanks, Jim. Can you give an example of a success story of how you've helped someone really make it big in real estate? Because I hear that you've dealt with a lot of investors over the years and
Sure,
they've all
sure.
become very successful.
Yeah, another fellow just lost everything. He didn't know the business that well, but he was terrific at getting properties. This was years ago, well, not that long ago. He was brilliant at getting properties. He was brilliant at marketing them, but he didn't know all of the regulations. And there were people, he had certain enemies that wanted to get him tripped up. And he ended up getting kind of over leveraged because of some rules and regulations that he wasn't familiar with. He ended up losing everything and having just a terrible time of it. And when it came time to reinvent himself, nobody would give him a chance. No bank, no private lenders, no one would give this guy a chance. They felt he was poison and they told him to take a hike. And he got in touch with my family, talked to my father, who said, as he did with everybody, let's see the property, let's see about doing one loan and see where it goes. Dad said yes to the guy, made the loan. We ended up doing loans with this gentleman for years and years and years. He has gotten so many properties now that he has even sold most of his business, and he's now beginning to get into other avenues of income. And he very kindly also has said in front of some of these real estate investment groups, he said it was my dad, Al Kruger, or Kruger Investment Company. Dad gave them the first loans, and then years later he came back to us and we did a whole slew of more loans with him. They've been very well. By this time, he really knew his stuff, and he had a lawyer on hand so that he made sure that the mistakes of the past weren't followed again. But his situation is that he's had an illustrious career. We don't drop names, but if we did, especially if you're local Oklahoma folks, you would know exactly the kind of huge success these folks are. And
Can you give our viewers an idea of the scope of like how big his real estate empire was? Because I think sometimes people are missing that, the people we deal with, can sometimes own hundreds of properties. So how many properties did he have? If you could mention. If you could just vaguely mention. I mean, again, we're not going to name names or anything.
at one point, he had way over 400 doors, you'd
Wow,
say.
400
That includes
doors.
over 400. It may be as much as 600.
Wow, 600 doors?
That
Serious?
that's a lot of
That's insane.
management. That's a lot of, at that point, your main thing is you have to have a really good system for managing it, which is just as important as getting the houses. But there's a way to do it if you have the right kind of management. We start out with people slowly, and when you slowly begin, you learn the kind of the ropes, the way the system works. You learn about the different aspects of the job, people's, human nature. You learn about, hey, you've got to watch taxes, you've got to watch insurance, you've got to watch those things on the properties that you are making loans on, because sometimes folks get started, they get focused on one thing, or family things come up and they don't follow through on paying their taxes. And so in some ways we do have to do a lot of carefully monitoring these loans and the people for the investors, because on one side you've got the investors who have a very simple situation. They set it and forget it. They bring the money to us to fund those loans, and we do all the servicing. And if there's any kind of a foreclosure, we handle all that. So basically, they get the money to us and we help them keep the money just rolling in. It's a 12% interest rate, but it's a higher risk because number one, you're talking distressed properties and you're sometimes talking people who don't have the greatest credit in the world. But this gets a lot of folks started. And as I said, some of them have hundreds of properties now.
All right, thanks, Jim. I have a lot of friends who want to get into real estate investing. How can they get in touch
Yes.
with you? And, what type of tips do you have
Mhm.
for my friends to get started? Thank you. And yeah, how can they get in touch with you? Maybe call you at your office?
Just a simple phone call, 405 9332. If I'm not there, you can always leave a message. I get in touch with you. I can tell you all about our program. And then if you wish to move forward, or if you're looking at moving forward, if you're at the point, maybe you don't have a contract down on a house, but you're in the process of looking, or you have friends looking for you as well, the more avenues you look, the more likely you'll find something. Your friends and everyone can help you. When you get to the point to where you do find someone, what we can do, or a property that you want to do a loan on, what we usually do is we kind of pre-qualify folks so that they can hit the ground running. In other words, somebody calls me up, and if they're interested, if I've told them about our program, what I do is I send them an application. It's a $200 application fee. We don't charge points at all, ever. Not coming, not going. We have a pretty small group of fees. Our investors make their money from the accrual of the interest. So what we do is we get that application to the folks, and we also have them give us permission to run one credit check the first time around. And then once, assuming the credit's okay, then we're ready to go for them. And we're just waiting for the call. And a lot of times they'll call, yes, Mr. Kruger, I finally found a place. Can we go forward? And what I say at a point like that, after we've already pre-qualified them, I just say, what's the address? I'll just get out there. Can I go there today? Is there a lockbox? Whatever the story is. I do the inspection. We look at the worth of the property, give them an amount that we can loan on it.
Is it true that you originated over 15,000 loans since you started in 1934? Because that's what I hear.
That
Is that
is
true?
correct. Thank you, Paul.
Well, Jim, I just want to say thank you for your time, and this is really helpful to my friends who are interested in real estate investing, and I think we can help a lot of other people as well. So thank you very much for your
Yeah,
help.
as am I. As am I. Thank you, Paul.
All right, Jim, love you.
You too. Love you too.
Well, Jim, I hope you have a great night. See you soon.